Mark Barton. You're looking down at your phone, mate. We've actually started. Sorry about that. I threw you under the bus. Hello, mate. Welcome to On Loose Lines. Very, very different one tonight, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, it's twilight, mate, in Sydney, but it's a lovely afternoon. We've had a busy afternoon. It's been good.
Yeah, in fairness to people, if they're wondering where we've been the last little bit, I've got stuff in my back pocket. A heap of horses arrived, so we've got to make sure they all get in here and all get settled and look after everyone. You must be wrapped with how many horses are on the complex already.
Yeah, look, we're looking for 230, and we'd have about nearly half of those horses in now. With a couple of the bigger drafts are here, a couple of big drafts coming in the morning, but it just makes it a nice steady flow for the transport operators plus our team.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Getting them all set at the Toolman's just arrived, but you've got Alabar, Lower Long Farms. I'm going to be in trouble. The guys from near Tamworth, actually. I was talking to young girl, Robertson. Robertson. They're there before. Brooklyn Lodge, Darren Ray, Ben Stud, Craig Judd's going to come over and join us very, very shortly. But I mean, a good turnout of people already. How's the excitement level for Nutrien at the minute?
Yeah, no, it's great. And look, you talk about it, the interstate horses too. We've got those couple of lines of horses from interstate, which means you've got Vic bred horses, you've got New South Wales bred, you've got a couple of New Zealand size stakes paid up horses. So there's going to be something here this weekend for everyone.
Absolutely. Anyone wants to ask any questions of Mark Barton, and Craig Judd's going to join us, as I said, in a second. Don't be scared to fire the questions in. We've got quite a few people. Cam Bray's actually watching. The great Brett Welsh is watching as well. She's sitting back there watching. So
Welsh's actually a dark horse up at the Gold Coast. He's going to be our he's like the number 14 in rugby league, mate. He's going to come off the bench and do a little bit of everything. So utility player next weekend on the Gold Coast.
I might have to get him on loose lines. That could be random, couldn't it?
That could be loose, mate. That could be a bit of fun.
There was talk about some sausage dog race, or him and Mickey Wilson doing something with the sausage dogs. Any understanding of that?
Yeah, don't know. I think that probably nearly every camp draft truck's got a sausage dog on it. I think Gemma might even breed a few of them. Might have a litter for sale shortly too, I think. Yeah. Are we allowed to advertise here?
Oh, we can do whatever we like. I mean, it is unscripted. We are struggling with flight, unfortunately, because we were going to, as I said, we just got held up half an hour there before. So we're not going to rush it, though. If people want to get involved, please do and ask any questions. Huge numbers. It is the start of a massive month for Nutrien, mate, isn't it? Yeah,
it is. Look, this is a sales series, and look, it's a carnival, mate. It's five weeks. We get a week off in the middle where I can go to gunning camp draft with the Gold Crown, or hopefully got a horse running in that too.
I reckon I'm going to sleep.
It might be, but look, what I love about this, everyone's probably fresh this week. We'll be having to keep push the adrenaline out by the last one, the big sale in Melbourne. But this has a terrific cross section of horses. With Cam on board, mate, there's some fantastic New Zealand families, and I think that's for anyone that does know our sales team. We've got Dane Pearce back for his third year from Queensland. We've got myself. We've got Darren McCauley. We've been able to hear him over the microphone, calling races in WA, but he'll be here for the weekend. And really excited to have Cam Bray from New Zealand Bloodstock come as a guest auctioneer for not just here but also in Melbourne.
And they're just coming off their NZB sales, and I just asked Cam for some of the details, but aggregate $13 million. The average was $50,000. The clearance rate was at 70, and I know they sold a lot since then after the sale. But some really big numbers. I know $300 for a Captain Treacherous filly. Like that's getting into you guys, what you guys do. You're embracing the fillies, and I know it was bought by the Kennys, who are Woodlands, who are one of my sponsors. Yep. But, I mean, it's big numbers for a filly, isn't it?
Look, it is, and like I've said to you since I've got in this, where I come from in the performance horse market, we love fillies. It's what we breed for, to try and breed fillies. I think there's a real opportunity, and like I keep saying, this showcases the Australian breed, and these young fillies, the next superstar filly is probably in one of these next 4 catalogues over the next 5 weeks.
We got, as I said, Craig is going to join us in a sec. The depth in horses racing tomorrow night.
Yep.
And the results out of that first sale in Melbourne, 2 horses in the Derby. A lot of horses get spoken about that have been through there, but Sanderson's and Brett Welsh, like he's great mates with Shane Sanderson, and they knew each other back in the day in Queensland and that. They've got 2 horses going around the Derby. The Lowrys, they're up and about. They're excited. They're coming back to the sales to reinvest. That's what we want, these people to come back, have fun and enjoy it and get a return as well.
And look, it's first class racing. I know we talk about it. We're going to have a chat with Craig in a minute, but you look at the ride that the Tough Tilly crew have been on, and there's some absolute standout. Getting up to their 4-year-old age group now. The likes of Ladies in Red, and like I say, those genetics are throughout these catalogues. Those type of horses.
Yeah, and they make a big difference. We might just see Craig. You might come on with us, mate, because I don't want to run out of daylight while he's here. I can do do a few of the other things, but I'll get you just to move around a little bit so Craig. No, okay, Craig,
You want to
get
get
in the middle.
You want to get his legs in that.
Well, no,
shot
he
too.
wanted his legs. Look at it. He wanted
didn't want my
them
legs
cropped
in,
out.
no.
I'm actually out of it. You go across that way. I need to be in it. You've got to work backwards. You got to work out. You do have audio. Firstly, welcome, mate. Officially,
Thank
the
you.
first time on Loose Lines.
Absolutely, yeah. No, I'm very happy to be here, mate. And yeah, I'm very pleased to see my legs aren't in the picture. So
No one's going to be able to see any of us soon if we keep waxing on. That's for sure. Excitement levels. You are the only vendor that's going to have horses selling in all for one excitement level.
yeah, I think it's fantastic. The whole concept and the way, there's just a really good feel around the nutrient sales. And Queensland, of course, they didn't have to ask me twice to go up there. I was really keen to get up there. I think that's a really vibrant market. I think that they've done some fantastic things there with the breeding and the likes. But I guess for my other perspective is get up there and do something new, like we've been.
I thought you were going to say party.
Yeah, well, there'll be a bit of that too. But we'll have all the family up there, which everything we do is family operations. So we'll have all the family up there, and to do that in Queensland, and have our first sort of opportunity to have a look at that market. I'm really excited to do that. I think it'll be brilliant. I think it'll be really, really solid sale.
Before, Bardo, we get onto a few of the horses. It's one thing about harness racing that is so great. It is family. There's 3 generations of Judds over there, all catching up, all having a chat. It's going to be business as usual, but we forget how big a family sport that it actually is. We watch the families on the track. There's families in the breeding. There's families in the ownership. It's what harness racing is all about, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I've got my daughter now. I've got one daughter living in Cairns, another one living in Darwin, and my youngest girl lives with me in Crookwell. And Eilish is down from Cairns. Darwin, Kendy's going to come down to the Melbourne sale from Darwin. So it's that opportunity. Yes, it's work, but B, there's that family element catching up, and they've got their own friends within the harness racing community as well. So yeah, we love it. I love the sales period. It's 8 weeks of hard work before it. I don't enjoy
Christmas at the sales.
Yeah.
Instead of Christmas in July, we'll have Christmas at the sales for Nutrien.
Mate, the thing that we saw here last year, which I know a lot of people talked about, was the family of the breeders, like the actual community of the preparers, how they really put their shoulder to the wheel as a group rather than just everyone's there to sell their own horses, but collectively what we did to try and help market those horses, but the effort and the camaraderie that was here, it was a really special feel, and it's something we feel it at the Classic at Tamworth. And second year in, first time at Sydney, you could feel that, and we'll do that again tomorrow. Like, we're going to kick this off lunchtime. We'll have most of the horses here, the parade tomorrow night. Saturday lunchtime, there's going to be just a preparer's barbecue and a bit of live music. We're just trying to really start the month rolling, but I think that's really an important element to what we're about, showcasing the Australian standardbred industry. But as a collective group of breeders, when they're united, mate, we've got a really powerful voice for the whole sport, for the whole harness racing industry.
You said there before about the Classic. You've been fortunate enough to go. There's not a lot of people that I want more people to go. Just go for it 2 days. Don't worry about how long you go for. Go for 2 days.
It'll
and
blow
actually
your mind.
It will.
Absolutely blow your mind.
Well, when
It's
I
huge.
talked, I'm fortunate enough now to know a lot more of the people. I give Welshie and Mick Wilson, those guys, a hard time, but I know them. The number one thing they say, you have to buy, you have to reinvest, because you don't want to miss out. You want to be back there the next year. Like, it is that family, exactly the same thing as what you were saying there before, Bardo. It is that family, and people want to continue to be involved in it.
And look, I've said it to those guys, you're a 400 to 500 to 1 chance of winning the Classic. You'll look at the fillies that'll race this year in Victoria for the Nutrien, say 2 and 3 year old races. You're 30 or 40 to 1.
Yeah.
Like, the odds for this catalogue of horses that we're buying this year, like, you look at those 2-year-old fillies, the ones that get up and get to the races, you're probably only up against 50, 60, 70 fillies that'll go back in that, and 175,000 minimum. And we're really working hard on what we do with 3-year-olds. And I know Craig shares my vision on that. We'd love to do something with 4-year-olds as we go forward. So
4-year-old mares. I've got no doubt. You talk on both sides of the ditch. They want to keep the mares, and it's exciting.
There's plenty of races for the colts. I mean, you got the Inter Dominion, you got your Golden Goddesses, and those exceptional mares. They might compete in that race, but 9 times out of 10 that's colts and geldings. So we need to produce a real top mares race and to keep them racing. So that'd be fantastic if we could do that.
We had a concept in the camp draft world that was called the Supergirls.
Yeah.
And that's sort of, I've coined the phrase why we shouldn't have a Nutrien 4-year-old Supergirls for trotting fillies and pacing fillies. I'd love to see that, and reckon we can pull that together over the next couple of years.
Jody, I just said there before you came on air though that the Kennys purchasing the Captain Treacherous filly. like that's just so exciting in itself. You know, like $300,000 for a sale topper, and it's a filly. That's an exciting change, if you like, in the harness racing industry.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, anything that's got Captain Treacherous with it is going to make some money.
Actually some beach.
Some beach somewhere. That line's just been exceptional, and I think now that people are recognising the value in buying nice quality fillies, there's good prize money. We've got $175,000 2-year-old race, $125,000.
$100,000
$100,000 3-year-old. Then if we can come up with this, phrase that Bardo uses, the Supergirls type of series for 4-year-old mares, and then they come on to be future brood mares. So the right people get hold of them, prep them up for a sale, and they get their money back plus. So no, there's definite value in the filly market, and even ourselves, we're looking to purchase this year as well.
Well, Katie Price said it about the Orange Agent. Was one of the horses she highlighted in New Zealand just recently.
Step this way a bit, mate.
270. I don't know what happened to my camera. It moved out of the way. That's better. It was $270,000 was the foal.
Yeah.
The first foal out of that. They wouldn't have got offered that for the mare to go to America and would never have seen it. Luckily, they kept it. We've kept those bloodlines, and then they go through the sales.
Would you say that it's a longer term investment, but a safer investment than buying a colt?
Yes.
Because, even if it's exceptionally well bred and it's a mediocre horse, you can still go and breed it to Captain Treacherous, Pedestal Idol, the likes, Heart Major, and okay, it might take you longer to get out, but you'll get out and you'll make money in tenfold. If you're lucky enough for it to be a really good racehorse, well then you could get out in a foal and a half. We paid really good money for Golden Goddess and traded out in a year. So
and that's so then you're back to normal neutral. You made and everything's right, and then hopefully you can produce 2 or 3 champions. And that horse is going very, very good too. I spoke
Beckham.
I spoke to him over there. He's still in recovery, but they're very excited. And Jean's words: sit back and wait. That's all she said. So she's super excited, and so she's helpful for him. The interesting part about the colts, and both of you guys, Bardo's different because I know in the camp draft world or the performance horse world, they keep them as colts.
Yeah.
50% of these will be gelded within 6 weeks. Everyone wants a colt. They'll go home, they'll break them in, and then they go and geld them. It's weird, isn't it, how we work?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, well, there's certainly a few in my draft that could do with that right now, to be perfectly honest. So.
There'd be a lot of people say it about you.
Yeah.
they go from there. But no,
I'm like Keystone Scotch, so I'm that old.
What a champion he was for the farm.
He was a great horse, Keystone Scotch, and he was still going at about 26 or 7, so he's got me well covered.
It's interesting you talk about some of those older colts in the market, but I've said this all this series too. You've got Art Major, the likes of Better's Delight, even American Ideal that have done a fantastic job, but there's a real changing of the guard. We're looking for that next superstar to come through.
And that's shone again in New Zealand, and I keep saying about New Zealand, but I mean it's the most recent sale and it was quite good. But you guys did your yearling parade on that same day, and Bardo's saying, what are the results? And I think it was the first was a trotter. I'm in trouble because it's a Woodlands horse. What the Hill?
Yep.
Made 100,000. I think then it was an Always Be Mickey. Then we might have had a Treacherous, a Crunch, went very, very close. It took 3/4 of the day before a Better's Delight and an Art Major got up to those, whereas normally any sale, as soon as they go through, bang, they're in. Yeah, so it was super, super exciting. That component of it, I thought, the difference in the horses, which is exciting for here. I really think this year it's going to be very different.
There's a hell of a lot of crunches, and I was really pleased to see that because I got quite a few horses of clients by crunch. Fantastic types, good-natured horses, and just stylish movers, and I'll be really, really surprised if he doesn't do a job.
Yep. And same, look, the Mickey sold very well over there too in New Zealand. It's a really solid market for them. Yeah,
and like there's a lot of people said about the trotting day that it was bad, but there was a lot of trotters sold for $100,000 as well over there. Like there is still the confidence in it. They're just for some reason in New Zealand at the minute all trotting day just doesn't work. They're giving rid of that. It's going to go back to a 2-day sale. So they know that, but it just that was about the only downside. I think all in all, everyone was pretty happy with how they went selling their horses over there.
Yeah, so we liked the idea of the blended market, didn't we?
Yeah,
we spoke about that earlier, and we got a lot of pressure maybe last year to shift it. And I think there's momentum in sales. People say, you don't want to be in the first 50 lots, but if there's a couple of nice horses there, they'll kick it off early. And then I just like the blend of the trotters. You got Pat Driscoll, and they throw in a $100,000 trotter. It just gives the sale more momentum. And then on the other end, probably the pacing does the same for the trotting horses as well.
And your chance to sell to a new market, you got you don't want to just sell to the converted. The square gate. There's the absolute passionate square gate people, and there's also that stable that probably has 1 or 2 in there. I know, look, we've got a couple with Robbie Morris. I know Robbie loves a trotter.
Yeah, well, Clayton and Emma, I don't think they really had a nice trotter, and they bought that fella. What was he called? He was a nice horse. He won, some
racing. I can't think of his name.
Yeah,
either.
God, I've gone blank on him. But they only bought him because they liked him on type, and he come out early. He was an exceptionally nice horse. So we would never have sold that horse to him on a standalone sale because they wouldn't have been there.
Look,
Yeah, that's right.
The standout horse for our catalogue that raced last year was the Locomotive.
Yes.
He's probably the most recognised horse that we've sold so far, and he's a magnificent trotter. And I think I forget what they paid for him, but they've certainly got their money back.
Yeah, well, Potter's a great trainer, and he's done a super job, Wayne Potter, with that horse, and
just shy of $200,000 for a 2-year-old trotter is just ridiculous.
Yeah,
It really is,
and Clayton, La Cucaracha,
champion.
If you
man.
want, unbelievable mare, and and an older mare too. So there's
Cover of Darkness was the name
Cover
of
of
that.
Darkness,
Yes.
and then make a pitch for the older.
I didn't
girls.
get it.
Someone
I didn't get it.
that,
Don't worry. I could love to say my brains, but we have got some people watching. Don't you worry about that.
Yeah, I'll make a pitch for some of them old mares. People say once they get to a certain stage, if you don't get they'll leave their champion in the first 5 or 6 foals, and that's that sort of cut-off point for them. Once they're in their 7th or 8th foal, they devalue, and then what's she done? She's probably on her 12th, 14th, 15th foal, and she throws the locomotion. So
that's it. But one thing I want to just do, we'll get on this catalogue in a minute. Throw back to myths. You don't want to be in the first 10 lots. You don't want to be a trotter, and you don't want to not be paid up for your size stakes or anything like that. The first horse that went under the hammer at the New Zealand sales was a trotter. Wasn't paid up for their size stakes, had no futurities at all attached to it, and it was number one.
Yeah, he
made 100,000. So I think all those sorts of myths we've got to start breaking down, because that horse went for 100,000. I think one a couple of lots later went for 115. So they were in the first 10 lots. So I think those myths are silly when you listen to them. People say, we put them in this sale because of the alphabet. It doesn't always work that way. So that's the way it does work. Bardo's looking at me. He's worried about the light.
I was only looking at it.
It's actually funny because that horse was called
Cover
Cover of Darkness, and that's what I thought the text. I thought the text message was Cover of Darkness, and then I'm like, no, that's a horse.
Every minute we're starting to look better, Paul.
Overall, the depth, Bardo, you're excited about it. The catalogue.
Look, the thing is, someone said, "What do you think?" I said, "Look, the strength in the top 50% of the catalogue is way stronger, even though there's more of them." There's a lot of very, very good horses. You're always going to have your 8 or 10 standouts, and I've seen probably, that's one thing I have had the chance to see, probably 650 of 750 horses. I've seen most of them.
Yep.
I know I went past a couple of stables with Brett Coffey earlier this afternoon. I said, "No, come and have a look at this one." He said, "How do you know?" I said, "I've seen nearly all of them, mate. There's exceptional fillies there," and I pointed a couple out to him. But if you look at it, I think just thinking about those first 10 horses, lot 8, on account of Walk Proud, you've got the full brother to Major Crocker. So there's a story. The mare's got age on her, but she's produced $1 million winner.
Jakey's watching too. Don't worry about that. Warwick Farm and that they're on there watching. So
saw the horses there only the other day, and they look exceptional. He does a terrific job.
He's been turned out some nice horses for a hell of a long time.
And there's the down by the seaside. You've got one here, you've got one in Brisbane, you've got a couple in Melbourne, so a chance for people to get into difficult to find genetics now too, a couple of good fillies.
The one thing I learned when I was going around, I did a podcast with Clayton Tonkin, and he said, you've got to look at every horse in their natural environment, and I do agree. I think the one you've got to do is look at every horse. We're going to have the parade tomorrow night starting at 5 o'clock. We'll be under light, so don't worry, it won't be in this light here, and it will start at 5 and it will be streamed out. A lot of people say there's horses that go through there that they don't see. So people selling horses need to put them in that parade so they do get the chance. But I encourage people to sit down and watch it. If they don't watch it live, watch it in replay. It will still be up there in replay. You don't have to log on at 5 if you've got work to do. Watch it a bit later on and go through and look at all the horses. It is important, isn't it? You will find one that it wasn't on your radar, but it'll walk past you like, wow, I like that horse. Cover of Darkness, you said there before.
Yeah, well, we had 17 years ago when we first started selling horses at the yearling sales, and we were out in the car park, where all the smaller vendors got to accommodate, and we couldn't get anyone to look at any of our horses, to be perfectly honest. Like, no one knew who Ben Stud was, and as I say, we're at the very furthest stabling area In fact, I spend most of my time dining with the workers down at the complex.
They're good blokes, though.
They're good fellas, really good fellas. We'd have a beer over the fence and a chat at lunchtime, and I had an exceptional type, and they didn't have a parade at that point, so I would just get him up and walk him around where the busier studs were, and he caught an eye, and he made really good money, and that was sort of the entry point for us. So, hence, I've always thought that you have to be part of a yearling parade. Particularly if you've got one. If he's he's not a Captain Treacherous. He could be a McWicked or a lesser known stallion or a lesser profile stallion. If he's a great type, you've got to put him in the parade, because it's only one person who's got to see him and like him, and you're just doubling your money.
Made the point. Benny Setri, we're over at the Brooklyn draft there only a couple of weeks ago. And Lady Euthenia has just been named Broodmare of the Year.
Yep.
And he's got the 3/4 there to Max Delight, Major Delight in a betting line colt. And he's a ripping type.
Yeah,
That's what I said to Benny. I said, you've got to get him out, because, the betting lines, he'll be affordable to someone, but on type, he's going to catch someone's eye. That's exactly that type of horse.
Just put one away for Toolman's. Come off the float. That's one of the reasons. And same thing.
There's
Lovely type.
Shannon Nixon's got one in the Wingate draft. He's a ripping betting line.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
Vags in
Bling.
Vags in
He's actually leaving a
Queensland.
few good winners up in Queensland of recent times. I actually think they'll will
Empire,
sell well up there.
Empire might have to. They might have to put their hand in their pocket. They're getting a fair bit. They're getting a fair bit of love all of a sudden.
He had a big weekend last weekend in Sydney too.
Yep.
Yeah. So no, I agree. And the other one too, I thought we were going to go, but Lee Miles, similar to Juddy, he was sort of outnumbered, if you like. He only had one mare in the first year of the sales.
Lock and Varzina.
Yeah, and he managed to top the sale simply because he walked. Every time you saw him, he'd be walking, talking, he'd be getting around.
She had a swagger and an amble that what's that? And people just kept going back and saw it.
Yeah.
And she topped our fillies.
Yeah.
Like I say, Lock and Varzina, I reckon, finished third at Bathurst in the fillies race last year.
Yep.
And she'll be back for Nutrien in August. So
Luke McCarthy's got it, I reckon, now. Don't know. Anyway, that's okay. But we'll get through the sales, important parts about the sales. We want people to register before Sunday. We need them to. Gemma's over the side there. We need them to get in touch with Gemma, make sure they've got everything in order, because it's a minefield on the Sunday. It's too hard.
Yeah, it is too hard. And look, we've got one more business day tomorrow. It's like any business. Like someone said, what's the process with going through credit applications? If we set you up with an account once, you can go to any store in Australia, buy merchandise if you want to. You can insure your horse or walk in off the street. You're a customer. Set yourself up a limit. Then you spend your time down here looking at horses, not going through that process. And like someone said, what's the process? And I said, well, how much do you want to spend? 150. I said, well, no one would let you drive the Ram off the lot for 150,000 without knowing a little bit more about you. So it's the same principle as any other business transaction. But once we know you, we want you to be a customer for life. That's the aim. Set you up properly. I know Gemma's done an awesome job at that. I think 12 or 15 in the last couple of hours. Coming in, which that gives us confidence for the vendors that we've got a lot of people are happy to give us their details and set themselves up with pretty good credit limits so that they can actually come in here and afford horses. It's exciting. I'm really confident that we'll have a terrific draft of horses for buyers, but if they set themselves up, the fun's out here in the stables looking at horses.
Sunday, sale starts.
11 o'clock.
So we want people, if you're going to come and have a look at horses in the morning, it'll start at 11 o'clock sharp. So you've got to be here really early, before 9 o'clock. Vendors will be out. They won't be able to sleep. You won't be sleeping. You'll be up, and you'll be up pretty early in the morning on the Sunday.
Get down here lunchtime onwards tomorrow. You get a look at them. There's vets on site. If you want to get a horse vetted, I know like every vendor's, it's their choice, but they'll happily let people get an inspection. If you make an informed decision, that's what we find at Tamworth too. People, we pre-work there a couple of days before they're sold, and that's when a lot of business gets done. So if you spend your time Friday and Saturday getting through, narrowing down your lots, and if you want someone to run an eye over them or even get x-rays, they've got the gear to do it for you, and you can make the best possible decision and hopefully get yourself a champion.
Yeah, and we want that, and then they can sit back on the Sunday and enjoy it, like what we try and say. Because we want to make it a party, we want to make it fun. That's the whole idea of it. Like I'm lucky enough travelling around. I have fun at quite a few of the sales. That's what we want. We want people to be coming here and enjoying it. Don't want it to be hard work.
And look, Friday night there's hospitality. We want to shout you a nibble and a few drinks, and then
fantastic.
You'll be prepping horses.
I'm not going to eat tonight. I'm going to wait up and put it all on Bardo's account.
Then we're going to look after the vendors at lunchtime Saturday, and then at the end of the sale on Sunday we'll put the bar and a bit of food on again. Like we want people to go away and say, look, I can't wait to come back next year and also set the scene for what's going to happen at the Gold Coast, what's going to even happen at Bathurst. We've got 50 stables on site, so the horses will be there more than they used to be. Instead of being out of the showground and shuttling in, we've got some temporary stables on site, which will allow people to see the horses and also those youngsters move them once and let them settle. I think that'll be good for that sale as well.
Bathurst is a fantastic venue, isn't it?
And it's
a
fun.
Fantastic town. And it's always fun.
It's a Gold Crown Carnival, so it's a big
There's
big
a
time.
hell of a lot of people
of
that just
history.
go to Bathurst just purely because that's what they've done for the last 20 or 30 years, and you never go away from Bathurst not having had a good time.
But just quickly with Brisbane, just go back there for a little bit. We'll be there Thursday, Friday.
Yep.
Going on from that, and the horses will be arriving Friday, Saturday. I think Burwood's going to arrive Friday.
We're going to even have the Burwood Stallions are going to be in Wednesday night now. They've got about 50 horses, so they're going to bring the
51,
colts. Colts in first. Then on Thursday, he said, look, it's a big draft. He said, look, the best facilities are probably on ground. So he said, could we get in a couple of days earlier, get them settled? And he said the team will get into the rhythm of working. They've got a bit of distance to walk, so they thought they could get a couple of days in earlier, like they do at the Thoroughbreds. He said it actually helps their horses settle.
And we want people to be aware, there's quite a few big drafts there, but we want people to be aware also that they have got 50 horses. They have got teams, they've got groups, so they're going to be able to do it. Just be respectful, because you're not going to be able to look at a horse, just walk up and say, I want to look at one, because there's going to be a big lot of people looking at a large draft. So be aware of that.
Brett Welsh can go and do that work for us. He'll be there. Welsh will be the man.
Is he working for? Oh, that'll be fun.
He's
Actually,
there for the whole weekend.
I have to wear the cowboy hat. I'll have to get the hat out, and it'll be all good.
Don't worry, Brett Welsh will be in the background. But as a trainer and a breaker, 2 years ago he broke in 4 of the finalists in the Magic Millions 2-year-old race. So he might know a little bit more about it than people might realise.
No, we're looking forward to it. I mean, we've got 9 horses in the draft, and we've got I think about 11 people put their hand up to come up to Queensland.
and no one wants to go to Melbourne.
I've got daughters and nieces, and anyway, we've got more people up there than what we've got horses, so I'm really looking forward to
One
that.
I want to take back though, when does the parade start at? Because there's a bit of confusion.
4:30 now. So what has changed?
That is 4:30 Brisbane time?
Yeah, Brisbane time.
You're right.
What has happened though, mate? You've got a group of the Albion Park guys, the board and the team there have actually organised a couple of corporate boxes over at the racetrack.
Just so people know, there is no races on this Saturday night. There's no Metropolitan race meeting at all, so that everyone can be there.
Yep, Saturday lunchtime.
Yep.
You can go over and watch the gallops go around across the road. The Creek guys have invited a number of people to go and have a few drinks and watch the gallops go around, and then come back across for the afternoon and just make it part of that carnival for the weekend,
which is really exciting.
Really good.
Which won't work real great for us, because there'll be 11 of us over at the Thoroughbreds. No one there.
No one watching
Ben
horses.
Ben started in the morning. Just so that people know, which way does it go? Are they behind us or in front of us with that hour?
Yeah, well,
behind.
no, they're behind, mate. They don't get out of bed as early. They get out of bed when we call it 6 o'clock. They're calling it 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock, so 4:30 it'll be 3:30 Sydney, Melbourne time.
Yeah, correct.
Yes, that's what I wanted to get out there.
Yeah,
so,
no, you get up there an hour earlier and you get home, you lose an hour coming back.
Yeah, nothing worse, is it? I know. I flew from Brisbane to Sydney. It was a 2.5 hour flight, and I thought Marie's got that wrong, but no, she was completely right, as I should have known. Should never doubt the wife.
I've lost time in Queensland a few times.
And you will lose time.
Gold Coast can be dangerous for that.
Absolutely.
So please get out here. We want people to be out here from tomorrow, but definitely all day Saturday. There's courtesy buses as well, but I think they might be full, but we're not 100% sure going to Magic Millions.
There is a bus going from here. I don't know what the numbers look like now, but Gemma's just left, but she did have that's been her. So contact Gemma or give one of us a call if you are looking for
There will be other cars. I'm going out a bit earlier, and I know there's a few other people. So if someone does want to go there and get involved. So it's going to be a very, very big weekend. But we're going to stop on the sales for 1 sec, because we're going to run out of daylight. Juddy, just the excitement levels around Magic Millions. If you want to go, mate, if you've got things to go. No, they're around the Magic Millions, Miracle Mile, and big meeting. You've got a lot of runners going around in the night, so you must be proud of it, but it's going to be a super night of racing there tomorrow night.
Yeah, incredible.
It's 2 nights. Saturday
2
night.
nights time, yeah. No, unbelievable race. I mean, Miracle Mile, just sort of everyone watches a Miracle Mile. You just, and we're lucky enough to have, 2 or 3 horses off the farm in that race. So 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big
3.
effort.
Yeah, fantastic. A lot of work and it gives you a little bit of confidence in what you do and your processes, and from raising a mare through and foaling down, and then the education and all the processes that go into the foal, and
Do you still feel like you own a little piece of them?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you can't not.
Just so people are aware, Captain Ravishing, Catch a Wave.
He's
No, Captain Ravishing.
Yeah.
What are the other two?
No. And Catch a Wave and Captain Ravishing.
And the other one?
You've got me absolutely stumped. I know there's 3 in there. Who we got?
Someone's going to come up with that for you, mate.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'll wait for someone to text it through to me. That'll
Yeah.
be for sure. So,
But look, I mean, just the 2 will do.
Cam Bray's watching. He told me to take
Yeah.
my hat off, so he's biting things up.
Yeah, like to think you could even get 2 runners of that ilk.
Yep.
Come off the farm. It's fantastic, and both of those guys went through the sales ring.
Yep.
So they were horses that anyone could have come along to and purchased at the time.
And that's the excitement of it, and I think that's where it works so well here. Like I said, Paul Lowry, Shane Sanderson's got 2 horses made the Derby.
Yeah.
Caterpillar Rescue, Catalpa Rescue,
Yeah.
and also Dangerous.
Yep.
I didn't know both horses were bought out of that first sale as well.
Well, Dangerous come off our place too.
Yeah,
I'll claim him.
and Catalpa, but they were both purchased at the first inaugural Nutrien sale. So
In Melbourne,
when I was talking to Shane today, I said, would the boys be interested in buying? He goes, hell yeah. I'm like, well, that's a great thing. So and they're good fun. The Birchip boys, they are.
Yep, they do.
They love
fun.
it time, don't they?
We want them to win the Derby and then come back and shout the bar, and there's probably some chance I'll put Paulie under the pump for it. But yes, but that's what racing's about, and that's about having fun, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. And those champions are here.
Yeah,
you just got to get down here and find them.
And you got to find them, and that's half the trick.
But it's half the fun too.
I'll guarantee there's a good number of them sprinkled through this
absolutely.
complex. And what the other thing which is great, 4 stable blocks full this year. It's got a heap of feel.
There's a downside to it. It's a lot of walking.
Yeah, but it's you can feel a buzz already.
Well, 100%, Bardo.
And we're only half full.
There's a positivity. Truck pulls up. The Nutrien team race out there, help you lead a horse up, help you clean a box. There's just a really good vibe around the sale. Actually, all the sales, to be perfectly honest, with the current economical climate, I thought there might have been a bit doom and gloom, but things at your sales up at Tamworth was phenomenal. The thoroughbred sales are huge, and I think there's really a lot of positivity.
If you got more than $3 million in super, you probably want to take a bit out and tip it into one of these because they're going to tax you 30%, mate. So
buy yourself a horse.
Buy yourself a racehorse.
Go down the tournaments. We've got plenty of nice.
We can see Alana's just. I'm going to say if you want a short price favourite for best presented, you probably go there, wouldn't you?
Baby Bling. Nice horse.
No video, but we're going to sort that out actually in a minute. She's got to get that one sent to me. So
my daughter actually come running over and she said, "Oh, Dad, you've got to see."
I saw her over there before.
Yeah, she was wrapped.
You've got to give Mum and Dad a wrap too because they've got an outstanding treacherous colt. Yeah. Lovely horse that Alana's got coming through here on the weekend. So that's another one of these treacherouses. Like they're going to be interesting, but I've seen 6 or 7 of them, and you put any one of them in on your trailer and take them home.
There's something about them, there's no doubt. But then
Gary and Louise have got a beautiful horse there.
Don't forget the betters and the art majors because there's plenty of nice. They shouldn't be
couple of good
forgotten.
betters, a couple of really nice betters in this draft.
We would get Alana on shot, but I reckon she'd turn around.
She's dressed worse than me.
She'll just go, no chance. There is no chance at all.
Representing harness racing New South Wales.
People might notice I keep stepping forward because I've got me bandy legs hanging out the bottom of these Crookwell Green Devil shorts and thongs on. So
as I said, so there's the field. Is any of that?
I can't even see it, mate. Where's my glasses? Can you zoom it up?
Yeah, I can. Because I actually did think you had.
I thought
Major Meister, Spirit of St. Louis, Hurricane Harley, Honolulu Bay or not. Must say a big well done to Lorison as well. For
absolutely.
Qualifying 2 horses.
Oh, no, I was going to throw in Expensive Ego because we own the dam of that, but we actually don't. We didn't breed Expensive Ego.
So, I knew there was half a trick to it. So
we've got.
It's still a big effort.
Yeah, look. To get 1 in is fantastic. Get 2 in, it's quite amazing to be honest. And those 2 horses, watch them lock horns the other day, and one's a Victorian, one that come off the Victorian farm, and the other fella come off the New South Wales farm. So they got one up on us at the moment. So
I'm going to say you talk about quality, and I look on the corner there, 61, the Gentle Anvil. Captain Treacherous right behind us.
Yes, another one of Kath McIntosh.
Yeah, but a great New Zealand family too.
But breeding and fun, and Bill and Ann Anderson, they have a lot of fun. They've qualified 2 horses as well. The pride they had in themselves the other night as well. I mean, they were a part of Sydney here last year. Yep. They haven't got any this year.
All in Melbourne this year, their draft. Yeah, they've got a nice draft again. And look, the other one, I guess, to give them a plug, the first run of the poster boys, and you know we've seen some really nice horses come through by him as well. So.
I actually just put one in a box over there for Alana actually, and
He's a nice horse too.
lovely little horse to handle, and he was quite liked him, and
you've got to admire what they've done. It's quite amazing. They went out to America, bought some top quality mares, and yeah. I wouldn't say I'm envious or jealous of them. It's just, it gives you something to aspire to. And I look at what they do and I follow what people do. Like, you know back in the day, Alabar and you know, the studs, when we first entered in, I'd go and watch them parade and I'd go and just follow what they do. And you've got to look at what they do and how they represent, how they present their horses, how they grow their horses out, how they manage to sort of nail the ones they seem to, they have a good eye for picking the top ones and keeping them and racing them. Good luck to them. And I think they're doing.
Alana's going to be upset to realise that she's actually on camera now, but we won't let that worry. Jody, you actually said to me one day when I was going to Bruce Edwards's, that to find out what it is that they do, try and find out what it is they do, because you admire what they do, don't you? Like,
absolutely.
Lorison and Bruce and all these people, you want to know how they actually continue to improve.
Van Dyke was one that many years ago, and I used to. I'd say to Dad, we send our horses to the sales and I'd be really happy with how they look. And then I'd say, but if only they would behave, or they would, you could manage them the way that Rob's horses were. And that's, I guess, that camp drafting background and the education he puts into them. So when brother-in-law Mark started working with us, I sent him to Rob Van Dyke's. And Rob was more than happy to help him, educate the horses.
How they do it.
How they do it, yeah. And so I don't ever look at any of those people and are jealous. It's just, for me, it's like, okay, what are you doing? How do I get better? That's what we do, I come down to the thoroughbred sales here 2 weeks ago. I just wanted to see how prepare them, how they, their signage and things like that. And to be perfectly honest, and I'll tell you this, I honestly went away underwhelmed. And thoroughbred people may not like that, but I came down here thinking, it'll be amazing. I was underwhelmed. I thought that the level of the standard of how we're preparing the horses, our marketing. Like I love on Facebook, Twitter, how people are they're selfless now. People are marketing and sharing each other's pictures and sharing each other's and liking each other's stuff. And then I came down here thinking, what's all the, and left quite underwhelmed, to be perfectly honest. I think we're doing it, and when I say we, I'm talking about all the preparers. The trainers are doing their homework just as good as those guys. I mean, I didn't see any of the top thoroughbred blokes out here looking at the horses. They're all down enjoying the dining. Our standardbred trainers are walking through the aisles and they're looking at the horses. They're doing their homework and they're making educated.
Most of these stables in standardbred people, they don't have foremen and the extra workers, so they've got to fit it all in themselves, don't they? So
no, I think we're doing the level and the standard of how the horses are prepared and educated has gone through the roof.
Yeah, no, couldn't agree.
It's a real credit to everybody.
I think it's very, very exciting, and I like the way that people are going about it. We're going to call it a day. Everyone else's lights have been turned on except for this barn. I'm serious. No one's found the light switch for this barn, but everyone else is. Big night tomorrow night for Harness Racing New South Wales. I'm going to be there covering it for Racing Club Menangle. Racing, it's a mouthful.
What's that on Saturday night?
Saturday night.
Yeah, that's 2 days.
You're a day out.
You're keen to get home.
Racing at Club Menangle. I keep getting out of the picture as well. So please tune into their Facebook feed. It didn't work last week. It will work this week. There'll be a lot going on there. I like the fact they're trying different things. Good race meeting, but then get here Sunday morning. Be here by 9 o'clock. There'll be recce on, everything will be open. Make sure you're here. Even if you're not going to buy, come and be a part of it and experience it. So
this is the best facility, as good as anything in the world to come and see, witness a horse sale.
Yeah, and you can get to rub shoulders and you can learn things. And like I said, the reason I said that before, Juddy's a professional breeder, and that was 1 year ago, 2 years ago, and he asked me that question. Come here, you'll learn. You rub shoulders, you'll sit next to someone. You might sit next to someone that just turns around and, when that bid was going on the other day for that $300,000 one, it was going straight across the top of my head. And I'm like, who's doing this? I was too scared to move. It was only the Woodlands guys, and they generally don't buy. It's fun though. But you don't move because you're like, I ain't putting my hand up. It ain't getting knocked down to me.
That easy.
I put it on Bardo's account like the hats.
You've nearly worn that one out, mate, too.
Yeah, it'll be right. But no, it's an experience, and that's what it's about too.
No, very good.
Right, boys. Thank you. we didn't do too bad. Everyone can still see us. I don't think there was any more comments going on. But Juddy, if anyone wants to get in touch with you about your draft, they can get in touch anytime. Just give you a call.
Yeah, give me a call. Most people, or you can get my number out of the catalogue.
Catalogue. Yep.
Just pop down. I'd rather see people in the flesh, and we'll have, like we always do, I'll have the reserves for all the horses come Sunday morning. So come along, I'll give you the reserves, and you can go away, work out whether you think they're worth that or not. But nonetheless, we like to operate 100% totally transparency. So here's the reserve. You go away, look through the rest of the draft and all everyone else's horses, and if you like it, buy it.
Yep.
They're on the market, and that's how we like to do it anyway.
No, thank you, boys. Thanks, Bardo.
Good, mate. See you tomorrow.
You will.